Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of Pro Wrestling Defined. I'm your host, Jonathan O'Dwyer, and please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up with all future content, interviews with legends of the business and current stars like the superstar we have on the show today, someone I've been a big fan of for a long time. And he has a whole new beginning at the moment now, lots of big shows coming up and a new name, formerly known as Sin Cara, Cinta De Oro. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, brother. Thanks again. I'm very excited to talk to you today. I'm just, things are getting back in order, and I'm just excited for what my career, it has into plays. Obviously, we have been through a lot this past about year and a half. All of us, everybody in the business, not just in wrestling, but in our lives. And I think I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about, who I am outside wrestling. So I think for me that has been a blessing. But at the same time, I'm ready to get back into the ring. I'm excited. I can be, I've just been trying to get myself back into the swing of things, because I definitely, my main focus is to obviously showcase my talent. That was the reason that I ended up, leaving the company WWE as Sin Cara, and now as Cinta De Oro in my new chapter in my career.
So talk about the shows coming up. You've a big show July 31st, head show in Mexico, and fabulous Lucha Libre on August 20th. Alberto Del Rio, Andrade, Carlito, lots of huge stars there. How's the process been hyping up these big matches and working with the likes of Andrade and Alberto Del Rio again? Because they've been big fixtures throughout your career.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think for all of us, it's a blessing that we're able to have, we love to wrestle. So I think for us, getting back into the swing of things is just an amazing feeling. But obviously, these shows are great. You're gonna have amazing talent on July 31st at the Pain Arena in Hidalgo, Texas, which is also known as McAllen, Texas, which is border town with Reynosa, Tamaulipas in Mexico. So I've been there a few times with when I was with WWE, and the people just love wrestling there. So I'm just excited, to be in that show. The main event will be Andrade versus Carlito versus Alberto Del Rio. So I'm excited for that one. I'll be in the semifinal match. It'll be me and Tejano Jr. versus Psycho Clown and Hijo de Dos Caras. So I've never faced a Psycho Clown ever, so I'm excited about that. He's a promise. Obviously, it's I know them very well. I got to wrestle with them a lot when I was in WWE, and for me to be able to have an opportunity to obviously be part of this amazing tour, it's just excited. July 31st we start at the Pain Arena in Hidalgo, Texas, and then August the 20th will be Las Vegas. I'll be doing a meet and greet. I will be wrestling in that one. But then after that, we start with television in Mexico City, recording television for Nación Lucha Libre, Grupo Imagen. It'll be translated over there in Mexico and many other places. So we started our recording television the last week of August. And then we have a show on the 26th at the Pepsi Center, which is also known as the World Trade Center in Mexico City. That one's a great show. It'll be a triple threat. And I'm just excited about that one. So I'll be teaming up with Penta Cero Miedo, which a lot of people know him as Pentagon in AEW and AAA. So, I've been getting an opportunity to be able to work with all those guys that before I wasn't able to. So I'm just excited about that. And then from there, we go to Tijuana on the 28th of August. That one's going to be amazing. It'll be Primo Colón, Alberto Del Rio, and Cinta De Oro versus Elia Park, which is the Park Original, Gliderman Jr., and Dr. Wagner Jr. So that one's going to be amazing. I'm excited to be able to, start showcasing in all these shows and wrestle with a lot of people that I knew before, and then I haven't had an opportunity to work with for a long time. So I'm just excited to get back in the swing of things and have people there now. So that's the main thing. Have our fans there back in the arenas and in the stands, cheering, screaming, all kinds of things. So I'm very excited about the opportunity that they're giving me in these shows.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so talk about the new name. From what I understand, you're paying homage to a wrestler that you really admired growing up. Talk about the new name and what it means to you on a personal level.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I grew up in Ciudad Juarez, El Paso, Texas, which is the only thing that divides the border. A lot of people know is Rio Grande, the Grand River. And as a young kid, lucha libre was a very important part of my life. Not just my life. A lot of people here remember those days. And when I was 10 years old, November 1st of 1987, I was 10 years old. It was the biggest match in the history of Ciudad Juarez. It was Rocky Star versus Cinta De Oro. Uh, Back in the day, they were the biggest stars locally here, and Cinta De Oro beats Rocky Star, and like a lot of people started crying, a lot of kids because there was their idol. And for me, it was happiness because Cinta De Oro was my idol, you know. So then, as I got older and I got an opportunity to become a professional wrestler, I got to work with him a lot. In the beginning, it was kind of rough because obviously they wanted to test you, they wanted to see if you really, wanted to do this, which was professional wrestling. And for me, it was a blessing because I was able to become friends with him, and he became my mentor. And him, Cinta de Oro, Cinta de Plata, El Tigre Romano, Victor Ojeda, a lot of the guys were behind me having success in my career. It wasn't just me. So when he passed away in March of 2016, I started the following year. I started honoring him with my mask. I did a fusion of Sin Cara and Cinta de Oro mask, and I don't know if you're familiar with a little bit of my career. At the end of my career in WWE, I was using this type of mask
Yeah.
as paying honor to him, because I wanted people to know who he was and where he came from. Because he was only a wrestler that didn't travel much. He spent most of his career in the border. He didn't want to go to Mexico and other places because it was his choice. It wasn't because he didn't have the capacity to become a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler. They would call him El Maestro. Le decían El Maestro Cinta De Oro. El Maestro means the teacher, so the mentor. So that's what a lot of us would call him. But for me, it was in that sense that I tried to pay tribute to him. And then when I ended up leaving the company, the last thing, to be honest, it was for me to portray the name of Cinta de Oro. I was trying to find a different name and just to keep my career going. And then all of a sudden, like one day, I got a call from the company asking me that I needed to change my name on social media and what was going to be my name. And I told them Cinta de Oro for now because our contract had that 90-day clause or whatever. So I was like, I got 90 days before that ends, and then I'll, see what name I have. By then I should have a name, where I'll be wrestling with. Then, so when I said that, that same day, they changed my name on social media. Usually it takes forever, like on Instagram and Twitter, it takes months, right, to do any type of change because it's verified my account. And for some reason that day, everything happened like that. I told them at noon, my name was changed by 7 o'clock. Wow. I was like, man, and then so it became a big fuzz and everything. So then what I did, I ended up talking to his kids, to his family, and I told them that it would be an honor if they would allow me to continue the legacy of their dad. And obviously my focus was to wrestle all over the world and not just in Ciudad Juarez or El Paso. And they said, yes, we don't mind. We would love for you to, carry the name. And let me show you something before I forget it. It'll be good. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure, man.
I want to show you a couple of things that I got here. It's pretty cool. And it's funny because like before, nobody really paid attention to what was going on with Cinta De Oro, why he passed away. And then all of a sudden when I ended up like, portraying, trying to, continue the legacy and continue what I was doing, then everybody said, oh, no, why you, and all this stuff. But the thing for me is that this mask means a lot. This is the actual mask that Cinta De Oro lost in 1990 against Fishman.
Wow.
In July of 1990, Cinta De Oro loses mask versus mask against Fishman. This is the mask from that match in 1990.
That's amazing.
So it means a lot to me. That's the main thing for me. And there's been a lot of people, always talking, things, and you know how it is. But at the end of the day, for me, that's the most important thing, that his kids and his family are happy that I'm portraying the name. And for me, this is a mask that a collector friend of mine had, and I ended up, doing a trade with him, and I ended up keeping the mask. So this is the actual mask from that mask. And then
that's incredible.
This is pretty cool. This is the mask, the last mask that he used before he passed away. He wrestled one night, and then the next day he passed away. This is the mask that he used in that match. His kids gave it to me as a present, because they knew that how much it meant to me as a wrestler, as a person, as a teacher. So for me, that's the main thing, to be able to showcase who Cinta De Oro was. And obviously I'm not comparing myself to him at all in any sense of the word. We don't wrestle the same. We don't look the same. But at the end of the day, I think it's important for us to pay homage to those guys that came before us, that opened, the path for a lot of us. And for me, as a young kid, as a young man growing up in Ciudad Juárez, El Paso, those were the guys that actually, paved the way for a lot of us. Cinta De Oro, Rocky Star, to this day, I'm friends with Rocky Star, with a lot of the legends. And, if I travel to a certain city, I try and get a chance to visit them and talk to them and open their, because I want to learn, I want to learn about their experience and what they went through and all those things. So besides being a professional wrestler, I'm also a big fan of all those people. I took my kid a few weeks back to Arena Coliseo in Guadalajara, Jalisco. And I got to take my kid, and he was excited, and I just want to show him my passion and what I love, and it has become his passion also. So he had a great time there, and I wasn't there to criticize anybody or nobody. I got to see one of my idols, Atlantis, wrestle, and it was a lot of fun. And I remember I was sitting down, and there was a guy like in a corner started screaming things to Atlantis, like some stuff, and I was like, "Hey man, that's my idol, be quiet." And the guy's like, just stood still. He didn't know what to say, but I was just playing around, But for me, it was an honor to be able to, watch him again and wrestle with him. And then so I ended up sending a little DM to his son, Atlantis Jr. What? He tell your dad that he's still my idol, and then he sent me a little video saying hi, and it was pretty cool. I still love what I do, and that's what I want to continue. And that's the main thing why I chose to portray Cinta De Oro, I don't want to compare myself to anybody. And also there was a kid wrestling under Cinta De Oro Jr., right? And when everything happened, I told the family, like, I don't mind if he wants to keep the name Cinta De Oro Jr., that's fine. I just want to wrestle as Cinta De Oro, not junior, not segundo, not tercero, nothing. He can continue with the name. And then he made this big thing on television here locally, saying that I was the one that took away the name and all this stuff, because he wanted his 5 minutes of fame,
Oh, okay.
And I let him be. I let him do all this telenovela, all this soap opera that he did on television, that he cried, that he took the mask off and all this stuff, and which is fine. At the end of the day, the truth always comes out. And for me, the main thing is to be able to, continue doing what I do, which is wrestle, and continue becoming better. At the end of the day, that's what people are going to see when you're in the ring. If you're able to wrestle, if you're able to do what you love to the highest, of my ability. And so no matter the name, if I chose Cinta De Oro, if I chose another name, at the end of the day, it's my work that's going to, be able to carry me through many places and take me to other countries and take me to other promotions to be able to wrestle.
Awesome. And just going backwards into your WWE run and the double Sin Cara angle, like that was so unique and so cool because of your actual real life history and around the Mystico name and everything. And so how did you actually get along together when you actually had to do the angle and everything? Because your matches were quite good and everything. So what was the dynamic like when you actually had to work together?
Well, let me make something clear first. It wasn't WWE's idea. It wasn't none of the writers' ideas to do Sin Cara versus Sin Cara. The idea came about because I had a meeting with Hunter back in the day in FCW, and I told him the story about Mystico and Mystico, how everything came about. So then that's how the idea came about of like Sin Cara versus Sin Cara. But the main thing for them was to be able to make the blue Sin Cara, because it was the first big superstar that Triple H had hired. And he wanted, I guess he wanted to show the boss that, he was able to take over the company or whatever he wanted to show. I don't know. But it wasn't nobody's idea. Obviously, as the story came along, we used writers and other things like that. But the main idea wasn't their idea. It was my real life story. So that's why everything came about. And at the end of the whole deal, I think we did it very soon. We could have kept telling that story for a long time, because I don't think I've ever seen a heel mass wrestler in WWE. It's always been a babyface. And that would have been something really cool to be able to, be the Black Sin Cara for a long time. And then later on, who knows, do the whole Sin Cara versus Sin Cara like we did. But I think we ended up doing it too soon. We didn't really, take as much as we could have out of that story. I think they just wanted to make him so big during that time because Ray wasn't there anymore. and they needed this big Mexican star, you know, with a mask on, and that's the thing. But it was fine, you know, when I was there, you know, the beginning, we had a talk. I told him, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm here to work. That's the main focus for me, and I just want to be able to have good matches and showcase my talent and be able to show the world what we can do. That was basically it, and we got along, you know, pretty well. But then people have different views, right? And I think for him, it was a different view. He was used to always, you know, being that big star that he was in Mexico, that everything was like handed to him, like, here you go, you know, I'm gonna give it to you. And for me, it wasn't like that. You know, I had to fight for everything that I had, and I think our mindsets during that time were different. But obviously, people change, and throughout time changes. And right now that you're asking me, it's pretty cool because remember I told that I was in Guadalajara, that show. He wrestled there. He wrestles under Caristico, and it was pretty cool because my son got to see him wrestle, whatever. I ended up going, you know, outside into the lobby when the show ended. I was talking to El Satánico. He's one of the legends in Mexico, and I was talking to him a little bit. And I had never met him before, but I knew who he was, and we started talking. And then as soon as my photographer tells me, hey, Caristico wants to talk to you, I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So I go, you know, backstage, and we said hi, you know, we said, hey, how you doing? And, you know, he greeted me really well. He gave me a big hug, and hey, how you doing? This and that. And you know, I realized that, you know, people change, you know, he's not the same guy that he was before, you know, a little selfish, a little, you know, into himself. And you realize that, you know, throughout time and as we get older, we get more mature, and he realized that, you know, nothing lasts forever. And it was pretty cool to be able to, you know, talk a little bit and remember a lot of the matches that we had, because we had really good matches, to be honest. You know, besides whatever happened outside the ring, I think we had good matches, and people loved the story that we were telling, and it was fun to be able to, you know, see how life and how throughout the years things change, and you know, I'm not I don't have no regrets or nothing. You know, if we get to work again and CMLL or in other companies or an independent company, I'm all for it. You know, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. I'd absolutely love to see that. It would be a really cool full circle story as well. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing that I absolutely love about your story is your faith journey as well, because you studied theology while you were coming up in the ranks in the wrestling business in Mexico as well. I think that's super interesting. Talk about what your Christian faith means to you, and has that been a big thing in kind of getting you through the last year with the pandemic and everything?
Oh yeah, man. I think for me as a person, that's what I was telling you before. Like I learned a lot about myself, of who I am, and you know what really matters in life. Obviously, what we do and what I do for a living, it's something that is my passion. That I'm blessed that God gave me the talent to do what I do, and I love it. You know, I love what I do, but also I learned that, you know, that I have a heart, that I'm not as bad as people sometimes portray, you know, in many things in life, and we all go through a lot of things. And I think for me, these 2 past years have been really, really hard in every sense of, like, in my career and my personal life. But I've been able to, you know, sustain myself and just keep fighting and keep going through it, and knowing that God is behind everything that I'm doing. You know, obviously, you know, we go through many mistakes, and I'm going to continue making mistakes. But at the end of the day, my focus is on that, trying to do the best thing that I can do to have my kids, to give my kids a good life and to leave them a legacy. And the best legacy that I can do is my faith in God. You know, my kids go to a Christian private school, and, you know, I don't know how I've done it throughout this pandemic, but I've been able to afford that and just taking them to school, because that's the best thing that I can do. You know, give them a Christian education, and my kids love it. You know, I respect our religion, people, what they believe in, and I mean, thing for me, if they ask me, I'll tell them. If they don't ask me, I'll keep my mouth shut. Because politics, religion is always something that, you know, people get into conflict. But at the end, the main thing for me, that's what I believe in. And as much as I believe in that, I'm also writing a couple books. One of them is a motivational book, talking a little bit about my story, you know, about my life. It's not a biography, but it's like certain chapters in my life. And now that I'm older, how God always, you know, kept me safe in that sense. Because I grew up in El Segundo Barrios in Ciudad Juárez in La Arroyo, Colorado, which was like, it was like pretty tough, you know. It wasn't an easy neighborhood when I was growing up, and I could have become a drug dealer, I could have become a drug addict, an alcoholic, a lot of things, and I chose not to. You know, I chose not to. I chose to keep my path to become a professional wrestler, because that's all I wanted to do. But now I realized that God had a plan for me, that it wasn't just me, that I was Superman. It was certain people that he put in my life, my grandfather, my dad, my mom, the mom of my friend, or different people all around me that kept me focusing what I wanted to do. Even my friends, as much as they did a lot of things back in the day, what we call the homies, right? Mis homies, mis amigos, mis camaradas, they would tell, when we go to a certain place, they would protect me. They would be like, nah, this kid, don't offer him a drink, don't offer him this, because they knew that I had a future and they wanted to protect me in that sense. So I'm also grateful for that. So it's pretty cool now that I'm 43 years old. I don't mind saying my age, because I always tell the guys would always tell me, oh, you're that age. I'm like, yeah, well, you're my age and you can do the things that I can do in the ring, then we'll talk. And see if you want to criticize what I do. But I think for me, my faith has been something that has kept me going, has kept me, especially throughout this pandemic, because I was at home for a long, long time, just me and my kids, and I was going a little crazy. Like, I would always ask God, like, what do you want me to do? You want me to retire? You want me to just continue wrestling, or what should I do? You tell me what you want me to do. And we ended up focusing our time in writing these two books. One's a kid's book and the other one is a motivational book. So I'm in the process of that. Hopefully by the end of this year, we should have out there. I'm gonna do the book in Spanish and in English, and also the audiobook in Spanish and in English. So I'm excited about that,
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see those when they come out. And going back to one of my favorite moments of your WWE run was the ladder match at WrestleMania 32. Like, you stole the show in that ladder match, that awesome spot that you did when the ladder was being tipped over, and did the spot jumping onto the rope and the Cinta onto the outside, and the kind of crossbody as well through the ladder later on. Talk about, like, that's the highest attended WrestleMania of all time. Talk about what that was like, performing in front of that many people. How much did that mean to you?
Well, I think for me, it's one of the top two greatest moments of my career. If not the top, because I was able to perform in front of my family, in front of a lot of people that I knew, in front of an amazing crowd. I'm a big Cowboys fan as a young kid, and so I got to wrestle at the biggest stadium during that time. That existed in the United States. So it was pretty cool. It was awesome. It was just an awesome experience. If you see my entrance, like, I'm very, like, as I'm walking down the ramp, I'm like in shock. Like, I'm not usually I'm very excited and jumping and like doing all this stuff. And during that time, I remember that I was going out, and I was like in shock, like I'm actually here. This is an amazing moment. And then when everything came about, the match came out amazing. People were chanting, "This is awesome," and all kinds of stuff. I remember when I did the last fall, the last spot into Cody Rhodes, when I ended on the ladder and then rolled out to the other side, and then SAG ended up winning. When the match was over, I started. I was on the floor, and I started crying. People didn't know because my eyes were covered, my whole mouth was covered. But actually, I was crying of of enjoyment, of satisfaction that I had accomplished something amazing. This Latino kid, this Mexican kid from El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, that had an amazing dream to become a great wrestler. Now was part of an amazing event and an amazing match, and then the biggest crowd in WrestleMania. So, you cannot ask God more than that. And for me, it was a blessing to be able to be a part of that amazing match.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. And now that Kalisto is no longer part of WWE, might we see a Lucha Dragons reunion around the independents, or maybe one of the big companies in AEW or something like that eventually?
That would be awesome. To be honest, I think we always thought that we never really had a big run in WWE. We were doing very well, and then we ended up being cut short of anything that we could have accomplished. And I don't know why. What was the reason? Every time that him or me wanted to do something, we were on a roll, they would stop that roll. I don't know if they didn't really thought that people were going to get behind us, or it was because who they wanted to push, or a lot of reasons. But a lot of fans now know when they want to push somebody, they'll push them to the moon, no matter if they're talented or not. It's who they want to make, and unfortunately, that's the way it is, and you cannot change nothing about that. But for us, I think we as a team, we had great chemistry. We were able to do a lot of amazing things, and we wanted to become champions, and we never got that opportunity to become champions in there. And hopefully one day, maybe outside, we'll be able to work together. I don't know what Kalisto is doing right now or what he's preparing to do, but I'm open for any challenge. If the Lucha Dragons, we're able to unite outside the WWE, it would be awesome. Maybe in AEW, maybe in AAA, maybe in El Consejo, maybe in Nación Lucha Libre. Who knows? Anywhere. I think it'll be an honor. It'll be something that I still get a lot of questions about that. You'll be able to work with Kalisto again. We'll be able to do something with him, and I know that he's been having some interviews lately and talking about what he really felt during that time, and I think it's the same feelings for a lot of us. I think that we thought that we were cut short of our talent. It was always all those excuses like, oh, he doesn't do a promo well, he doesn't speak English, he doesn't speak Spanish, he doesn't speak this, he's fat, he's too skinny, he's too ripped, he's not ripped. It's just a bunch of excuses, and I think it's at the end of the day, it's just whoever they want to make. That's the truth. No bits or buts about it. It's just if whoever they pick and they want to make, they're gonna make. So it doesn't matter. The one big example is Kalisto. He got ripped at the end of his career. In the company, he just got like jacked, and so you say they were fat. Now this kid is ripped. He knows how to wrestle. He knows how to do this. What is your excuse now? There was no excuse. It was just they didn't really care. And now I'm happy that that he's free. That hopefully he gets a chance to really showcase who he is. And now under some guys, so I think he's going to fit in very well. And hopefully we get to work together. In many places.
Definitely. And just before we wrap up, just some quick fire questions. Dream opponent, past or present, that you would most have liked to have worked with?
Man, I would have, to be honest, like I've been blessed in my career to work with a lot of the legends, but I think one of the guys that I really regret never meeting was Eddie Guerrero. He was a big inspiration for a lot of us, because I grew up in Ciudad Juárez, El Paso. I used to watch him wrestle in Eddie Santos in Ciudad Juárez. He debuted when he was 18 years old. I was 8 years old. So I used to go watch him wrestle with a lot of the local guys back in the day. And then the time that I was supposed to meet him, I didn't. He passed away a few months later, and it was just really, really sad that I never got the chance to be able to, talk to him or really get to know him. But I met a lot of his friends. I met Chavo Guerrero and me are really good friends, and it's one of those things that through other people you get to know somebody, which is pretty cool. But I never really got a chance to be able to, talk to him or learn from him, which I wanted to do. Hopefully, in heaven we get to have a match one day. That'll be something cool, really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And since you're a huge Wolves fan, and we know about your friendship with Raul Jimenez.
I saw your shirt. Manchester United. I like trying not to look at it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Big Man United fan, all right, now, which since the 95-96 season. But since you're a big Wolves fan, who would be your dream player, past or present, to play for Wolves?
Obviously, Raul Jimenez. He's my friend. He's one of those guys that I think you have learned to love. And now the Wolves are very, very popular in Latin America. I don't know if you know that. Especially in Mexico, people love the Wolves. People love Raul Jimenez, and it was just an unfortunate thing that happened to him last season. But he's back in the swing. I think he started training again. He's doing very well. So I'm excited for the season, for especially for him, to get back into the swing of things, and hopefully the Wolves get a place and to get into the league, in La Champions League. We want to play in that one, and it'll be something really cool. I'm also, hopefully I get to visit the team again this season, and there's a lot of projects in the way right now, so I'm just excited, and hopefully I get a chance to visit the team again as I did a couple of years back.
And finally, your favorite mask that you've worn, and your favorite mask of any other wrestler?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. There's a lot of amazing masks, but I think one for me that is considered one of the best is either El Cobarde or El Solitario. Let me show you. I got one here, so I'll show you one before we end this interview. It's right here. Este es El Solitario. This is an actual mask from the 70s of El Solitario.
Oh wow! I love the gold.
So he was a big legend here in Mexico and in Japan. passed away really young, 1986, when he was 40 years old. Now I own a part of history, and I think he was one of my idols. I was as a young kid too, so it's just an honor to be able to have this in my collection also.
That's awesome.
And you asked me one of my masks, right? One of mine.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to actually say one, but if I'm gonna have to say one, I think it's the Wolf mask, the one that Raul Jimenez when he scored the goal at the FA Cup in the semifinal at Wembley Stadium, because that transcended generations, transcended countries, languages. It was just an amazing thing that he did to honor, obviously, his goal and to honor Lucha Libre. So it was just awesome to be able to that picture went all over the world. That video was I don't know how many views it got, and it was just all over the place. So for me, it's got to be that moment.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely awesome talking to you. It's been an honor. Like, I've been a big fan of yours with a lot of years. Like, so it's been awesome, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Nada, my pleasure, man. Stay safe. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Pro Wrestling Defined on YouTube. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up with all future content. And please follow Pro Wrestling Defined on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.